GamingBolt presents 15 things nobody wants to admit about Overwatch. Blizzard Entertainment's Overwatch is the company's first new IP in years. It's also risen to unprecedented levels of success, garnering over 40 million players in 2 years and having its own eSports league. That being said, even if the game is pretty great, there are certain things that players just don't want to admit. Let's take a look at a few of those here. Auto-aim heroes require no skill. Running Moira in Diamond, racking up kills left and right. How about old Symmetra, who ramped up damage the longer the beam stayed on target? Both characters has something in common. They rely on auto-aim and take very little skill. You could argue about Grandmaster Symmetras and Moiras, the latter using burst heal for quad tank setups. However, even if Symmetra's rework removes her auto-aim, being good at any hero that relies on auto-aiming isn't as challenging as, say, mastering Ana or Zenyatta. Mercy takes no skill. Not everyone has amazing aim. That's why they rely on auto-aiming characters and less mechanically intensive heroes like Mercy. However, Mercy's entire kit is problematic. She can heal at an extraordinary rate, offer consistent damage increases, fly from one team member to the other quickly, and can bring back a fallen ally every 30 seconds. Given how impactful this all is and the low skill floor of Mercy, she's essentially the poster girl for low skill heroes. Sorry everyone, but holding down left or right click while pressing shift every now and then isn't intensive. One-tricking certain heroes isn't good. Blizzard has stated on many occasions that one-tricking a hero isn't a bannable offense. However, it's possible for players to be reported and avoided if they try one-tricking, say the current Symmetra or Torbjorn. It's a paradox, sure, but as terrible as it sounds, you can't just one-trick any hero you feel like. You're placing the team at a disadvantage when a hero is hard countered, and refusing to switch may as well qualify as soft throwing, regardless of how Blizzard classifies it. One-tricking in general isn't good. Let's say you one-trick a meta slave hero though. What if you want to play Genji or Tracer during dive? Well, with the introduction of Bridget, would you keep playing Genji, getting very little value out of your ults? Will you keep playing Tracer when the current Hanzo is so good at countering here? Having a few main heroes you're good at isn't terrible, but only being good at one hero is a bad idea when the meta can shift swiftly. Popular heroes don't need huge nerfs. With Widowmaker dominating most games, does she need a nerf? Maybe to balance her usage percentage a bit? It's not that she's particularly imbalanced, but that the meta currently favors her a lot more. This is due to Mercy still being very good in supporting her, leading to massive damage even on body shots, and the ineffectiveness of other DPS heroes. This isn't a peak Valkyrie meta where Mercy's kit was completely broken and requiring nerfing. Some heroes don't need to be nerfed into the ground if they're used all of the time. Look at your own mistakes. For some reason, you like competitive play in Overwatch. Actually, you don't because you hate the meta, blame your teammates, and often think matchmaking is out to get you. However, at the end of the day, the only player whose mistakes should be examined are your own. Maybe you're in the rank you belong. To find out, the focus of improvement has to be on oneself, whether that's in mechanical skill, communication, game sense, etc. Matchmaking is generally terrible. That being said, it is agreed that matchmaking can be pretty bad. Head into quick play with a full team of 6 just looking to have some fun, and the sweatiest of squads can sometimes be matched up against you. Competitive play doesn't take different roles into account when matchmaking, so it's possible to end up with 3 support mains or no tank players at times. While the looking for group feature should remedy some of these issues when it goes live, matchmaking still has some kinks that needs to be worked out. Best enjoyed in pre-made teams. So what's the solution? Don't go into quick play with a group of friends lest you faced vastly superior players? Well, no. You should play with friends as everyone performs in their best role and communicates freely. The game is just more fun as a result. Also, it's a lot easier to pull off game-winning strategies with people you've often played with. Sorry solo queuers, but even if you fail in a group, then at least you're failing with friends. Solo queuing and luck of the draw. Even with everything said about the terrible matchmaking, lack of role queuing, and risks of running into superior teams with grouping with friends, solo queuing is the ultimate nightmare. You have no control over who does what, and if you want to win, then it means playing heroes you're not familiar with or hard carrying like crazy. So accept the luck of the draw and don't blame everyone else if things don't pan out. Not the best meta. The current meta is something to say the least. It favors shields, snipers, copious healing, and what have you. Compared to Dive, which was more about coordination and mobility to quickly take down enemies, the damage-boosted Graviton Dragon Strike meta does feel stale. That's not even taking Bridget into account. But not the worst meta. However, even with all of the survivability, shields, and stuns, this isn't the worst meta. Even if it doesn't feel as exciting, sometimes drastic changes are required to shake up the status quo. As much as some players prefer Dive, it effectively dominated the meta for almost 5 seasons. Change is necessary, and even if the current climate isn't the best, it's far from the worst. I mean, does no one remember the peak Valkyrie meta? Never completely balanced. At the end of the day, much as we may rant and rave at Blizzard about balancing, Overwatch will never be completely balanced. There are too many factors across too many skill tiers to consider, with too many different types of players. Sure, the on-the-fence approach for balancing high-skill heroes versus low-skill heroes can be annoying, but Overwatch is a game that's trying to accommodate numerous playstyles instead of tailoring to one group's purpose. It's a multi-million-dollar IP after all. Not quite esports ready. The Overwatch League has been a relative success, at least with regards to high buy-in price and life cycle. However, even with all of the new additions made to POVs, player jerseys, and an overhead minimap, Overwatch has a long way to go in terms of esports viability. There's still no match replay feature, viewers cannot watch games within the client, nor can they switch between different perspectives at will during matches. We also mentioned how some matches haven't been played on the most current patch. Needless to say, Blizzard has its share of kinks to work out. Poorly handled lore. While it started out as fairly exciting, Overwatch's lore has stagnated to an enormous degree. We saw Doomfist's escape and Sombra's blackmailing the Volskaya's Industries president. Since then, the lore has gone nowhere. What does Talon have planned? What is the response to the vigilante Overwatch? What is this darn Iris that Zenyatta keeps talking about? Blizzard has done next to nothing to expand on anything, and even with the story-based archives events, we've had nothing substantial to flesh out the overall world. Loot boxes have to go. Finally, cosmetics behind loot boxes just aren't cool in this day and age. While other games have outright removed loot boxes or offer direct payments for cosmetics, Overwatch continues to revel in them. The recent anniversary event was especially egregious, bringing back old seasonal items but mixing them in with the new item loot pool, saturating things heavily. A battle pass system where players know what they'll be getting or just a means for more direct purchasing of items would be better. And no, the odd scraps of in-game currency from loot boxes aren't enough. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.